The drama never stops in Morgantown, baby. We've got some more on the way, potentially. We're going to try and put some water on this thing here on Between Ears. Hello, hello. What is up, everybody? Skylar Callan with another episode of Between Years. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July weekend. And we are in for a busy week here of football topics with the Big 12 Media Days coming up. College Football 26, the early access released on the 7th. We got the regular out, the rest of the release that if you just bought the game normally, it'll come out on the 10th. We've got a lot of content covering that as well. And then we've got Wren Baker being thrown around all over the place by some folks, tying him to this Oklahoma job that is opening up with their AD set to retire within the next year. From his current position, he's going to remain, I believe, intact with the university through the 2028 year. So let's just go ahead and address this right up in front. It's obvious because of the Oklahoma connection. He's an Oklahoma native and has a lot of ties, a lot of connections to Oklahoma. So naturally, this is where you kind of get these sort of things. It was the same thing when West Virginia's AD job opened up. You heard some people that had West Virginia ties. Same thing with the coaching search. Which one of them, you may ask? All of them. It's been that case, and it's going to be the case no matter where you go, no matter what school you're talking about. You always, the first thing you look is who's been to that school, who's attended that school, who's worked at that school, who's from that state, who's from that area, that region, and then you kind of look at other factors. But that's really where most people start when they start trying to pick up these names for these jobs. So I don't know what others think about this. I think, when the Missouri job popped open and Wren's name was thrown around, that to me was a kind of, I don't want to say it was a more likely move, but it felt more, it made more sense to me. And that doesn't mean that he can't take this Oklahoma job or that he won't be considered. It's just I felt like if he would have made a move, it may have been to Missouri, a school that I feel like probably would have been more attainable for him. Where Oklahoma, they're going to have a bunch of these guys being in the mix for this job. It's some of the best candidates out there, whether that's in house, externally. They're going to have a lot of people interested in this job. Missouri, no disrespect, but it's probably not as coveted as Oklahoma's. So just from that standpoint, I thought him not even being really in the thick of things there was a good sign for WVU. Secondly, I reached out to our Oklahoma insider John Hoover and got his input on this. And I asked him directly, "Hey, is Wren a name that you're hearing?" He said, "No, nothing official. Lots of speculation. I think he'd be good for the job for sure, but OU may want their next AD to come from a less traditional background." So that's straight from our Oklahoma on SI publisher, John Hoover. I'm going to be getting some more stuff from him potentially here in the next couple of days, depending on how this thing unfolds. But if we do have any updates from John, I will be sure to share them on our website at West Virginia on SI. What does he mean by less traditional background? I mean, you could take that a number of different ways. When I first read it, I was like, well, I don't know if Wren's necessarily traditional. Maybe by Oklahoma standards he is, but by West Virginia standards, that's certainly not the case because traditional would, in my opinion, would be Shany Lyons. He was very by the book, did everything how it's been done for several years, several decades. Didn't really like to tiptoe that line, that gray line, so to speak. Wren Baker has been more aggressive in fundraising efforts, and when the NIL really came into play, he's more innovative, more he just finds ways to make things work that maybe haven't been done here in the past. Whether that's forming relationships with major donors or companies or whatever the case may be, Wren's been that guy. Shany Lyons didn't really do some of the things that we're seeing Wren Baker do now. Of course, some of that was because Shane was the athletic director in a different time, a different era, but still, when they were going through that transition, when they knew that this was where college athletics was headed, they needed to get a guy like Wren Baker. So, what does he mean by that? I'm not really sure. I'm actually still waiting for him to respond. If he responds during the show, I'll make sure to read it. But I wanted to get this out there as quick as possible. So, do I think he's going to be in play for the Oklahoma job? I don't want to say no because it's way too early in the process. I think there's going to be several other names that get involved. I don't know if he's going to be in the final group. Um, they actually put on their website. I'll make sure to link this here in the video. They put out three names that they believe are candidates for the job, and that is Zach Selman, the Mississippi State AD. It has some ties to Oklahoma. All three of these guys have stronger ties to Oklahoma University than Wren Baker does. Um, Marcus Bowman, who's actually currently on staff there at OU, and then Kirby Hocutt, um, who's the athletic director at Texas Tech. So he doesn't have necessarily as much as ties or strongest ties as the first two names I mentioned, but certainly does have some. So those are the three that are on their hot board, so to speak. It might change. It's gonna, well, it's not might. It will change. It will be updated. They'll add some new names to that list. Wren Baker could be one of them, but like John said, it doesn't feel like there's much there as of right now. That can change. These things are so fluid. Whenever you're trying to find a coach, an AD, assistant coach, whatever the school president, you're going to have this thing change a billion times before you get to the finish line. So when somebody says Wren Baker is going to be a name to watch, this is the thing that I think a lot of fans need to understand. Yes, Wren Baker can be a name that gets thrown around. Probably, and if Oklahoma is doing their due diligence as they should, as a coveted job as this is going to be, they should do homework on every single Power Four AD out there that might be available. They should do that. So yeah, Wren Baker has had success here. He's hit on hires. He's done made a lot of progress on the financial space of this. He's going to naturally come up as somebody that a random writer from XYZ site or outlets put on there as a name to watch. A name to watch and actually on their list and somebody that's at the top of their list and wants to get interviewed or somebody that they want to interview are two completely different things. Named a candidate by a media outlet and actually a candidate are two different things. Please understand this, folks. They are not the same. So because you see the headlines, Wren Baker's named a candidate, that's not what you think it means. Somebody out there put out that he is a candidate. Doesn't mean he is. He could be a candidate. Please understand that difference. I'm only saying this to make sure that you're not panicking, you're not freaking out. When that comes at when the if and when there's a report that comes out that Wren Baker is a candidate, that's when you need to start worrying a little bit. Right now, it's a bunch of random people putting out random thoughts about who it could be. Right now, there's nothing concrete whatsoever in regards to Wren Baker and Oklahoma. So let's just tap the brakes a little bit. Let's relax. We'll see how this thing unfolds. Because he's from Oklahoma, because this is OU we're talking about, there should be some concern, I think, from West Virginia fans because it's a lucrative job. Here's what I'll say. And again, I don't want to speak for Wren. I don't want to speak for his representation or anything. But I think when you have made all of these moves that he's made in the last few years, some people could say, well, that could be one thing that makes Wren want to leave West Virginia. I don't think so. Doesn't mean he can't, but he has done everything he can to make sure that WVU athletics is in a strong position moving forward. And it's not just hiring coaches. Like I said, it's been a lot of behind the scenes things in terms of fundraising, in terms of putting new facilities together, renovating facilities, update, getting naming rights deals going. There's so much that he has worked on since he's been to Morgantown. I don't know that he wants to just uproot that and leave to go to a place where he's going to have more pressure than ever, right? Because let's say, hypothetically speaking, here, we're going to play into this. Hypothetically speaking, Wren takes the Oklahoma job. Brent Venables, is he going to be around for much longer? I don't know. He's going to show up and be in a I've got to evaluate football situation right away, similar to what he did here with Neil Brown at West Virginia. But the difference between the two is pretty stark, right? Like if they continue to, or if he were to continue to move on with Brent Venables, that's going to be something that goes on his resume in terms of the OU support. If he fires Brent Venables, okay, he's got to go out and he's got to hit a home run. If he misses on that football hire, it's a big time, strike on his resume for the OU decision makers. And there could be hot seat talk within a handful of years for Wren if he goes to Oklahoma. And that's not just Wren, it's anybody who takes this job. If you don't get football right, you're in trouble. That doesn't mean he can't be in trouble here, he can't be in trouble wherever the case may be. But right now at WVU, he's got a little bit of leeway, right? He let the thing unfold with Neil Brown. It ended up not working out. Gets Rich Rodriguez into the fold. He's got some strong support going. He's got a little bit of momentum. This feels like he's got some time here. He's got a little bit of time to give, to allow Rich Rodriguez to build this thing back up. It's not going to happen overnight. We understand that. We all know about the basketball situation. It's been an utter mess since he's got here, right? With the Bob Huggins situation, Josh Eilert thrown in as the interim. You get Darren DeVries in, he's in here for a year and he's out. Now you bring in Ross Hodges, 4 coaches in 4 years. He's got all the time in the world on the basketball side of things. He's hit on Mark Kellogg, Steve Saban's tremendous on the baseball diamond, right? Both soccer programs in good shape. If you're looking at job security as a major factor in this, Wren's in a really good spot. I don't know that anybody out there in their right mind is thinking that Wren Baker's done a horrible job at WVU or there are some questionable decisions that he's made more so than the right ones. Here at WVU, he's in a really good spot. He could be here for a long, long time if he wants. Does he really want to risk that where he's got some time? He's safe in his job here and he's got plenty of time because of the football and the basketball situations to, he's got job security. He doesn't have to have that pressure right now. Obviously, you want to win every single year. You want to win in year one with Rich Rod. You want to win in year one with Ross Hodge, but you have time. If you were to uproot and go to Oklahoma, do you really have time? I mean, I know you're taking a new job, you're starting the clock over, but you don't get football right, you don't evaluate the football situation right, you're in trouble. So, and again, that goes for anybody that takes this job, whether it's Selman, Hocut, Bowen, and anybody. Doesn't matter who. So that's why I feel like there's, again, when the Missouri thing popped up, I felt like that may have been more of a scarier situation. That doesn't mean that this one can't be. This one can pick up a lot of momentum very quickly, and all of a sudden, I could be back on here on Sunday doing another video saying everything I said on Tuesday was completely wrong, and I was completely wrong on the whole situation, misread it, and here we go. But I don't get that feeling, at least as of right now. From what I've been told by John Hoover, he has a pretty good pulse on this thing. It doesn't seem like there's a strong connection there just yet. It's early in the process. But when you take all that into account, what John told us, plus the fact that job security is a big thing in this world, right? Yes, he's going to have more resources at Oklahoma. He's going to have a better chance to win conference championships, national championships, but there's also pressure that comes with it. A lot of outside noise that comes with it. You got a lot of pressure here at WVU. People care. There's a lot of care factor here. But is it Oklahoma where you got to win 10 plus games a year in football? That's the deal breaker for me. I don't know. I think Missouri, if he would have went there, it was a kind of a similar situation to West Virginia where you want to win. The expectations are there for you to win. You have everything you need to win, but it's not on this ridiculous level of, if you lose one or two games a year in football, the fan base hates you, then wants you fired. And then all this noise that gets built up over a handful of years turns into something more than just noise. So again, let me say this. There is a difference between Wren Baker actually being confirmed as a candidate for this job or any job and just being named one by somebody out there. And my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, they could all name Wren Baker as a candidate. They could all think he could be a candidate or a name to watch, if you will. Doesn't mean he is one. Right now, doesn't seem to be the case. Could it be in a few days, a week? Maybe. As of this very moment, that's not the case. Understand the difference. Please carefully read what you're divulging. Okay? Don't just see the headlines and think the world's coming to an end. WVU's got to find a new athletic director. Not the case. Not right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section here on YouTube. And if you think Wren Baker is ever going to be considered for this Oklahoma job, what you think West Virginia would need to do if he does get considered and perhaps takes it, or just give me your thoughts on this whole situation and let me know what you believe. So that's going to do it for us here today on Between the Ears. I'm Skylar Callen. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out greatly. We'll be back tomorrow. Rich Rodriguez and players will be speaking at the Star in Frisco, Big 12 Media Days. We'll be here to recap it all.